Hi, I'm Matt, here in Michigan.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. Today, Matt and I are taking a look at Hamilton, the Disney Plus movie Hamilton that just came out. It stars Lin Manuel Miranda as Alexander Hamilton, David Diggs as Lafayette and Jefferson, Renee Goldsberry as Angelica Schuyler, Philippa Sue as Eliza Schuyler slash Hamilton, and Leslie Odom Jr. as Aaron Burr. This movie is pretty much the brainchild of Lin Manuel Miranda. He produced the original show. He wrote all the songs. He did a lot of the composure, and now it's streaming on Disney Plus for everyone to watch.
This movie takes a look at, of course, Randall mentioned the founding father and U.S. First U.S. Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton. Hamilton was actually originally supposed to come out, or at least this production of Hamilton was supposed to come out in theaters in October of 2021, but instead Disney decided to release the movie early on Disney Plus due to COVID-19. Now, both the movie and the stage production that it's based on have come to critical acclaim. The musical won 11 Tony Awards from a record 16 nominations in 2016, including Best Musical.
My God, Matt. I am a person who has never seen the stage play. I wish I had seen it in theaters, but life happens. So going into this is very different from your experience of going into this because you saw it twice.
Yeah, I did. Was lucky enough to see it twice, and I had only heard a little bit of Hamilton before I saw it. I saw it once in Chicago, and then I saw it again in East Lansing, and I had two different perspectives from those. One was higher up to kind of look down on the production, and then in East Lansing, I saw it, closer to the stage. And I think this movie gives another good perspective, and it actually, zooms in on characters and stuff that you might not be able to see unless you have a front row seat.
Yeah, so for my part, what was fantastic is actually getting to see the choreography. Like many other people, I have heard the soundtrack to this hundreds of times, seriously, hundreds of times, but only ever seen like their Tony performance and maybe one or two bootleg like snippets here and there. I never got to see the choreography, and it's a completely different thing. And I understand coming from a musical perspective, not being able to see this actually sucked. I wanted to see this on the stage so bad, but at least I'm getting to see it now, and I'm happy that this came together pretty well. And you're right, like this does things with perspectives that you just couldn't do on stage. The only way to really get it is if you had a static camera and it's just like, all right, we're just going to point at the stage, and the camera is going to pretend to be a member of the audience. But still, there's an overhead shot. There's shots from very many angles. There's close-ups. This is a very different beast, even though it's just a recording of the show. I'm super happy that it's there, but yeah, I want to still see it in theaters whenever it comes back.
Yeah, I would be interested to see how this would play out in theaters, on kind of like the big screen and stuff. We got to remember that this was meant for the stage. So the whole production, was built for stage viewers and stuff. But seeing it like this is good too. I think one thing about this is if you can't go see it live, this is definitely a good way to bring Hamilton to people who don't have the opportunity to see it. But also people that have seen it, I think you do get a little bit more also from watching the movie as well. So there's something there for both parties.
Yeah, what I really liked from it, and I'm sure that this is even better when you see it in person, is the use of color. The use of color in the costumes to bring your eye to the main characters or to the person that you're supposed to be paying attention to at any given time. The use of warm or cool colors to be like, all right, this is who you should be watching right now. Like Eliza's having her thing, or Aaron Burr's having his thing. Even though there's a whole troupe and chorus on stage, you can really quickly go in and say, all right, this is the chorus. They're all wearing kind of like drab browns or something like that. It's not that they're not important, it's that they're not important right now. Versus the main characters who are wearing like the colonial blue or when you get past the Revolutionary War, the main characters who are wearing the full get-ups of the colonial fathers, founding fathers costuming, it really does a good job of drawing your eye where you need to be looking, which again I know is more geared towards the stage, but it's kind of right back to foundational movie watching, and kind of like when we did the little short story for Seven Gables, where I commented on good use of color, like she's standing in the shade, this one, and this character's in the light. Just fun to see that. Fun to see that on film instead of just having to go to a live production and see it.
Yes, for sure. One thing too, I would say though is a little, disappointing. Something you don't get is, even though they bring you all the tension with these colors and stuff, you don't see as much as what's going on in the background with a movie version. In stage, you actually see a lot more going on, and it kind of adds more to, I think, the overall feel of it, of the times and stuff, and not just the focus on the main characters who are singing and who are tension and stuff could be on. Another thing that's different about seeing a movie, and then you might not notice in like, play production unless you're front row, is people are projecting their stage performers, so there's a lot of like spit and stuff coming out of people's mouths. So it's one of those things for theater goers when one of the first times you ever get like a front row seat to a show, you're like, wow, I didn't realize they spit that much. It's kind of interesting too. You notice on this, one of my favorite is actually King George, and you notice that a lot in one of his first performances and stuff. But he's, like I said, he's one of my favorites, and it's good. I mean, it adds a little bit to it.
There are two characters in particular that I really want to point out. One is King George, because I had never seen it, and I only ever heard King George, and I thought, in my mind, my imagination says, King George, this must be such a fun role to play, the way that he could play it up on stage. And then I watched it and I was like, huh, like his words are funny and what he's saying is funny, but how he's playing it is very straight-laced, very unexpected. I didn't expect to see it that way. I thought for sure that it was going to be more of a King George is a goofball. King George is just he's having fun with it. Now, later in the play, he does get a little bit more goofy with it, but early on, his first 2 or 3 performances, he's not goofy at all. That was very off-putting. Now, on the other side of things, I particularly liked the depiction of Jefferson. Jefferson is so much fun to watch in this. Davy Diggs plays Jefferson. He also played Makita Lafayette at the first half of this, but he just has so much fun, and I caught that when I listened to it, and I was like, that's also got to be so much fun to do, and then it translated 100% to what I expected it to be. So very, very different portrayals from my mind's imagination versus what actually happened.
Yeah, one thing that is really different with the different versions, each time I saw this, I think a different character kind of shined more. Like, the first time I saw it in Chicago, the actor that played George Washington, like, really, like, nailed it. Like, I saw, and that was, like, a real big part, I really enjoyed that. And this, I agree with you. I think Jefferson was excellent. He's one of those that stands out in this version of the play.
Yeah, and really the thing that this did for me, when I was listening to the soundtrack, when I was watching the movie, every time I get into doing anything with Hamilton, it brings to me that the history major, my history degree comes out, and I start educating myself on things. And I hope that a lot of people do, because I know that that's one of the things that Lin-Manuel wanted to get out of this, was that, like, more people would go and look at their history. More people would go and look at Alexander Hamilton, and there'd be more focus on a lot of this stuff. So some of the things that I always go and look at, I always go and look at information about the first bank. Okay, well, most Americans don't even think about it. So I'm like, oh my God, this brings it up. I'm gonna go look at more information about it. The election of 1800, super contested. You think politics are mudslinging and bad today? Go look at the election of 1800.
Oh man, Randolph, only we could be in the
Oh
room where it
my
happened.
gosh.
I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens.
Aaron Burr. That's another thing that we'll get to, because I do want to cover Aaron Burr's character. Every time I get into listening to Hamilton, every time I get in, like in this case, watching it, I go on a fact-finding mission. What did they get right? What did they get wrong? What are the little things? What are the fun things? Like, it's great, and I hope that more people do that.
Well, that's another thing too about history. A lot of it is based on like perspective. We get things on history from, certain people's perspective. So you have to keep that in mind too, that just because it's history, where did we get that history? Whose view of that history was it, kind of thing? And like you were kind of alluding to, a person that we want to talk about, Aaron Burr, he is the narrator of this play.
He's the narrator, he's the villain, he's the sympathetic character. And that's the thing. I love the depiction of Burr in this, even if it's not accurate to historical accuracy. What I really like is the character development, the way that the character is written. You get time to sympathize with him. You get time to see him as someone that you can actually maybe understand his plight, like why he is so desperate, why he gets angry with Hamilton, why everything happens, and he's given a couple of solo songs where you can actually see him as more as a human instead of just the villain in the history books, is what they say in this all the time.
Now I'm the villain in your history.
That's great character development. A bad guy that you can feel sympathy for, that you can kind of almost get on their side, like Thanos, even though he's obviously bad in the Marvel universe, you can kind of see his point of view. You don't agree with what he's doing to get around of it, but you can see his point of view. They did that here with Aaron Burr.
I think they did a good job of, showing the characters at the beginning and then keeping that through. Hamilton comes to Aaron Burr when he meets him and has admiration for him. Like, how do you do, what you've been doing?
Talk less. What? Smile more.
And Hamilton he doesn't agree with that. No one will know what you stand for if you're just quiet. And I like seeing that they carried that out throughout the whole play.
Long story short, if you can go see Hamilton in live, do it. I mean, obviously that's not happening anytime soon due to human malware concerns, but like second best, watch this movie. If you're someone who's been hankering to go see Hamilton and you just haven't had a chance, this is good. I'm super happy that this is on Disney Plus to watch.
I'm super happy it is too. I think if you're planning to see it, wait to see it live before you watch this. And then after you see it live, go back and watch this. But if you can't, definitely check this out right away.
Man, I could be waiting for years before I get a chance to see this. Toddlers are the worst.
Well, you already listened to the music and stuff too, so no. You already got some perspective on it before.
Hey, this is a different kind of film for us to do. We don't do very many musicals. At least there's no musicals that we have on our channel yet. And this one's not even a movie musical. But if you like this sort of thing, we got lots of different movie reviews. Make sure to check out our channel. Give us a like on this video. And if you like this kind of stuff, give us a subscribe and ring the bell. That way you can always know when we upload any new content. For now, I'm Randall here in Michigan. Dang it, I did it again. I'm not in Michigan. For now, I'm Randall here in Michigan. I'm not in Michigan. I'm Randall here in Texas. Everyone have a great day.
And I'm Matt here in Michigan. See you guys later. Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.